Are you looking for some cute Valentine's DIYs? Then stick around for these easy projects. All you need for this project is a template, some cardboard, and some yarn. You want to print out your template, and I used cardstock for mine just because that's a little bit sturdier and easier to trace around. And you just want to trace out how many hearts you want to make on your cardboard. This is a very quick and easy project. This is a fun one that you could do with your kids or your grandkids. And this would also be a really cute idea for your kids to make these to give to their classmates for Valentine's Day, or friends, family, whoever they might want to give these to this year. They might need a little bit of help cutting these out if they're younger, because it is a little bit hard to cut out this cardboard sometimes with your scissors, but you just want to get all of your heart shapes cut out and ready to go. And instead of doing yarn, if they wanted to do something different than that, they could paint these or do glitter, stickers, whatever they would want to do, and personalize them and give them as Valentine's this year. But for my project, I decided to wrap these with several different colors of yarn. I picked a cream color, a gray, different colors of pink, and to start this, I did put just a dot of hot glue on the top and the bottom of my heart and just started wrapping my yarn. You just want to keep wrapping this. I did go in the same direction to start with, and then you will want to change directions. It just makes it a little bit easier to get that yarn wrapped around the sides of your heart. It wants to slip off in those areas, so you do want to add some extra hot glue here and there just to make sure that your yarn is held in place and doesn't slip off of your heart form. So you can make as many of these as you want, and these are super cute just to tuck in with any other decor that you may still have left out for winter time. It looks really good with greenery, candles, and things like that. But this one is super easy and is a really quick but fun project. I picked up a couple of different colors and prints of fabric from Hobby Lobby for this easy no-sew fabric project. I did want these to be a little bit more subtle. I don't really like to use the bright pinks and reds for Valentine's Day, so I opted for kind of this blush pink color and this yellow one with some pink detail. And I did need to cut down my fabric into 12 by 12 pieces. I am going to be using my fabric mats and my Cricut for this project, just so I get a good clean cut and nice crisp lines on my heart shapes that I'm going to be cutting out. So I just cut off any uneven edges first and just measured out both of my fabric pieces and cut those down to the 12 by 12 size. And you guys, I did mess up on this project. I did not mirror one side of my heart shapes. So when you do this, be sure that one side of your shape is just the opposite to the other side. You want these to cut out and be able to put right sides together so you don't see that backing on your fabric. But I was just okay with that for this project. I knew how this would be displayed, so you won't really see that back piece of fabric, but just keep that in mind if you do this project. So once I had all of my pieces matched up, I just used some fabric hot glue and just put a small bead of that on half of my heart and just added that other piece of fabric and just pressed that down firmly with my finger just to make sure that I got a good hold with that fabric glue. And you just want to continue working all the way around your heart, and be sure that you leave just a small opening so you can stuff these with your polyfill, or if you have an old pillow, you could use the stuffing from that, just whatever that you have on hand to be able to give your hearts a little bit of shape and look like a small heart pillow. And sometimes you will have some areas of that glue that wants to pop a little bit. You just go back in and just add some more glue. Just make sure that you kind of push that down firmly, and just make sure that that is attached well and has a good hold. And just keep adding your stuffing until you have your heart as fat or as fluffy as you want it. Just don't overfill, because that will make those seams pop. And once you have all of your hearts ready, I used some bamboo skewers, and I just used those as kind of like a dowel rod, and just place those on the inside of each of my hearts. Trim those up if they were a little bit too long. And just to close up the bottom on each heart, I just added a little bit more of that fabric hot glue and held that in place until it was set up. Now, to embellish these, I just grabbed out a lot of different things that I have in my stash, some different colors and types of ribbon and lace, some jute, some rusty safety pins, buttons, just whatever I had on hand that I wanted to embellish these with. This is the fun part. You can personalize these however that you want to. You could add a message to each of your hearts, whatever you want to do for your project. And I just used some fabric hot glue and added my ribbon, my buttons, jute twine, whatever that I wanted for each of my hearts. Thank you for watching my video today. I hope you guys are enjoying these projects so far. If you are, please be sure that you give this video a thumbs up and also click that hype button. If you are new here, welcome to my small little corner of YouTube. I am Alicia, and I am so happy that you are here today. Now let's get back to our projects. And I needed something to display my fabric heart bouquets. I had a couple of these little terracotta pots that you can find at Dollar Tree, and they usually have these out. They may even have them out right now, but I know they have them out closer to springtime. And I decided to paint these. I just used the sandstone color from Waverly and did a couple of coats just to get the coverage that I wanted. And I also added some burlap and lace ribbon that I had in my stash just to decorate these a little bit more. And I just attached that with some hot glue to each of my pots. I didn't want to add too much to my pots because I do want my hearts to be the focal point of this project. I just felt like this had a lot of blank space on the bottom of those pots. And to be able to put all of my little fabric hearts in there, I just took a block of styrofoam and just cut that down into some smaller pieces that would fit into the bottom of each of my clay pots, and just added those with some hot glue. And then all I had to do was stick in my hearts to make my little fabric heart bouquet. And this would be a really cute idea that you could gift to anybody this year that you might want to for Valentine's Day. I think this would be a really neat idea. Instead of giving a floral bouquet, you could do a fabric heart bouquet like this, and this would last for years to come, and you wouldn't have to throw it out once, your flowers die. But just to cover up that foam, that styrofoam, I did take some Spanish moss and just added some hot glue and stuck that in there just to hide all of that foam. And that is it for this project. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I have this distressed floral cardstock pack in my stash, and I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and I try to grab these when they are on sale. And I really like all of the designs in this one. I just got some shabby chic vibes from all of these prints. So I just flipped through this pack and found a piece of paper that I wanted to use for this project. It's not necessarily Valentine's themed, but it did have some pink roses and kind of a brick pattern, so I thought that one was really pretty. And I also found this sign in the clearance section at Hobby Lobby. Be sure that you check that out. You can find a lot of good things there for really cheap a lot of times. And I just measured out that center portion of my sign and just marked the size on my paper that I would need that would fit on the inside of that. Just used a ruler and just some scissors and cut out my cardstock. And I did have to trim this down just a little bit more once I got that cut out. And I used some of my Aleene's tacky glue just to attach my cardstock to the background of my sign. And I like to use a paintbrush just to spread that around before I place down my cardstock or whatever material that I'm working with, just to make sure that I press that firmly in the corners and make sure that my paper won't roll up and come loose from the background of my sign. And I also had some scrap pieces of this faux tile that you can find at the Dollar Tree, and some of these wooden heart ornaments that you can also find at the Dollar Tree. So I just traced out my heart shape onto that faux tile and just cut that out. I'm going to be gluing that on the front side of my heart shape. And when you cut out this faux tile, it does remove that backing from the front of your tile. Just keep that in mind for whatever project that you might want to use that for. And I used my Aleene's tacky glue again. I like to use this when I'm working with that faux tile. I have used hot glue before, and it just leaves those bumps and ridges, and I don't like that for a finished look on any of my projects, so I opted to use that tacky glue. And I wanted to paint that tile, of course, to match the background a little bit better. So I used my ballet slipper pink from Waverly chalk paint, and I did a couple of coats on the front of that, and I painted all of the sides and the edges as well. And I also painted one of these small wooden blocks because I want my heart to have kind of a 3D effect and be popping off the back of my sign just a little bit. And I did take a piece of sandpaper just to distress this heart. I wanted that tile detail to just stand out a little bit more, and I like that it had this silver underneath. I just like the way that that looked with the pink, and it also picked up that gray and kind of silvery color from the cardstock. And I also had another smaller wooden heart in my stash, and I painted this one with a couple of coats of the Snow White from Waverly chalk paint. And I took some of my stamps and my ink pad, and I just stamped out Romans 12 and verse 10 on my smaller white heart. And I took some hot glue and just glued that small wooden square to the back of my pink heart, and then I just glued that down into the corner of my sign. And I opted not to center this. I just put that down in that left-hand corner because I had this second heart to glue on top. I just liked the way that that looked, and I just used some hot glue and glued that to the pink heart. And I had some of this scrap fabric left over from another project, so I just cut a slit in the bottom of that and just ripped one piece of that and just tied a loop in the middle, and then I just dovetailed the ends, kind of played around with some of those extra strings, tried to fray those edges a little bit just to make that look a little bit more rustic, kind of shabby chic to go with that cardstock print. And I glued my little piece of fabric in that right hand corner of my sign, and that is it for this project. I did tack down just a couple of other places just to get that to lay the way that I wanted it to, and this one is a really sweet and simple project that looks great on a tier tray or any other area in your home that you need just a little bit of that Valentine's color. That wraps up these Valentine DIYs. I hope you guys have some crafty inspiration now and you are ready to give a couple of these a try. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Have a blessed day and I will see you in the next one.